You know, you might think the real learning, the serious stuff, starts when kids walk into school.
Right, the classroom door threshold.
Exactly. But the source we're looking at today, it paints a much, much bigger picture.
It really
We're
does.
doing a deep dive into something huge, the role parents play in their child's education. We're pulling from this great discussion on the English Speak podcast.
Yeah, that episode, Parents' Essential Role in Education. And what's great is Emma and Ryan, the host there, they go way beyond just, checking homework.
Oh, absolutely. They really get into how parents shape things right from the start.
Hmm.
Not just grades, but like the whole attitude towards learning.
That foundational piece. It's fascinating.
And that's why this matters to you listening. Maybe you're a parent wanting some ideas, or you're just curious about what really makes education work.
Or just want the bigger picture, maybe.
Yeah. So, this deep dive, our mission is to pull out those key insights, maybe some surprising bits too, about parental impact, and do it without the heavy academic speak.
Clarity and insight. That's the goal. And thinking bigger, understanding this parental influence, it really changes how we should think about education systems, doesn't it?
It really does. It impacts support structures, everything.
For everyone involved.
Okay, so let's get into it. First up, we'll look at parents as like the first teachers. Always teachers, really.
The continuous educators.
Yeah, then the nitty-gritty, creating that learning vibe at home,
Hmm.
the school-home connection so
A
vital,
partnership idea.
navigating tech,
Yeah.
that's a big one now.
Oh, yeah.
The power of just, encouragement and being a role model.
But what happens when that support isn't quite there? We need to touch on that, too.
Right. And importantly, how every parent can make a difference, no matter their own background. Sound good?
Sounds like a great plan. And what really jumped out from that English Speak podcast right away was how they frame it. Education isn't just a school thing.
No, it starts at home. They were so clear. Parents are the first and probably the most lasting teachers a child has.
And it's way more than, like, ABCs and 123s, isn't it?
Totally. The podcast really highlighted those early years. They use that great analogy. Kids are like sponges.
Just soaking everything up.
Yeah, think about it, those chats, the bedtime stories, answering all those why questions.
That's laying the groundwork right there.
Exactly. Building curiosity, maybe even a love for finding things out. So for you, trying to get the key takeaway fast, this early stage, it's crucial for understanding the whole journey.
Which brings up a really key point about the kind of environment at home that helps that happen.
Right. Emma and Ryan on the podcast, they got practical about it, creating that supportive learning space.
What does that look like?
Well, things like homework help, but they were clear it's not about feeding answers.
Now, more like structure, showing you care.
Exactly. Building routines, showing education matters, and encouraging reading, involving kids and setting goals.
Simple stuff, but powerful.
And the personal stories they shared were great. Emma's mom just sitting with her during homework.
Made it feel important. Shared.
Yeah. And Ryan's dad helping with the study timetable. Little thing.
Organizational skills right there.
Just asking about their day, praising the effort, not just the result. It really sticks. Makes it real, doesn't it?
It does. Those stories show it's not about parents needing PhDs,
Not at all.
It's about being there, being interested,
Yeah.
consistent support. And if you want memorable details, those anecdotes really show how simple, everyday things shape a kid's path.
Absolutely. And that idea of support, it leads right into the next big thing from the podcast. Education is a team sport. It's not all on the school.
Definitely not. They really push this idea of the school-home partnership.
Yeah, what's so insightful there is how they stress that connection.
Yeah.
When teachers and parents talk, work together, it creates this like stronger bubble of support around the child.
Much more encouraging, cohesive.
For sure. Open communication is key. Go to those parent-teacher things, stay in the loop, tackle problems early.
Don't wait for them to become big problems.
Exactly. They use the word team, which I think is perfect. Shared goal, shared effort.
A real team. And that team approach is maybe even more critical now, with all the complexities of modern learning.
You mean like technology?
Exactly. Em and Ryan went there too.
Yeah, the digital world. It's a whole other layer for parents, isn't it?
It is. And the podcast stressed the parent's role isn't just monitoring, it's guiding.
Right. Not just limiting screen time, although that's part of it, but pointing kids towards the good stuff.
Educational apps, safe online research, using tech productively.
Helping them explore interests online, maybe.
Yeah. But also, and this was a key point they made, setting boundaries.
Ah, the balance.
Exactly. Balancing the screen learning with, playing outside, talking to people, resting. It's about responsible use,
Mm,
digital citizenship.
that makes sense. Now, here's something the podcast touched on that I find really fascinating and maybe easy to overlook.
What's that?
The power of parents just being role models. How kids soak up our attitudes about learning.
Oh, that's huge. The idea that parental curiosity is contagious.
Yes. If kids see us reading, asking questions, being excited about learning something new, they're more likely to catch that bug too, right?
It's like learning by osmosis, almost. They
Yeah.
just absorb it.
And it's not just passive modeling. It's also actively, celebrating their wins, big or small.
Mm-hmm. The encouragement piece.
The podcast really drove home how much impact simple praise has. Like, wow, you worked really hard on that. Or, I'm proud you didn't give up.
That stuff matters so much for motivation. It's one of those aha moments, isn't it? Simple words, huge impact on confidence,
Yeah.
willingness to try.
Definitely builds that self-belief. But there's a flip side, isn't there? Emma and Ryan brought this up too.
The pressure problem.
Yes. It's such a fine line. You want them to do well, obviously, but the podcast can warn about being too pushy.
Right. Setting crazy expectations, it can backfire.
Ugh.
Stress, anxiety,
Yeah.
kill the love of learning even.
So what's the alternative?
They made this great distinction. Guide, don't control.
Guide, not control. I like that.
Yeah. Kids need room. Room to explore, make mistakes,
Yeah.
and learn from those mistakes. That's how they build resilience, ownership.
Okay, so that's the ideal. But what about when that parental support, that involvement we've been talking about, what if it's just not there consistently?
Yeah, the podcast didn't ignore that. They looked at the consequences.
And the research they mentioned, it's pretty clear, isn't it?
It points to a link, yeah. Lower academic results, sometimes more behavioral issues, even lower self-esteem for the kids.
And it goes beyond just report cards, right?
Yeah.
Like affecting whether they even want to go to school.
Yeah, attendance can drop, interest can wane. It really shows how vital that home support system is for just overall well-being in education.
So the big question then is, how do we help all parents feel like they can be involved, especially if maybe they didn't have a great experience with school themselves or don't have degrees?
That's such a crucial point.
Yeah.
And Emma and Ryan had a really positive message on this.
I thought this part was so important. They basically said, and I really want you listening to hear this, you don't need a fancy degree to help your child learn.
Absolutely not.
Just being there, asking about their day, showing you're interested, offering that emotional backup,
Yeah.
that's incredibly powerful.
And every parent can do that.
Every single one.
It shifts the whole focus. It's not about being an academic expert. It's about
Nothing.
engagement, encouragement, care. Every parent brings value regardless of background.
Totally. So, okay, let's boil it down. Practical stuff. What are some concrete things you, listening right now, could actually do? The podcast has some good tips.
Yeah, pulling straight from Emma and Ryan's chat. Think about creating a dedicated study space at home. Doesn't have to be fancy, just conducive.
Okay, like a quiet corner.
Could be. And establishing routines. Predictable times for homework or reading.
Makes sense. What else?
Just talking to your child about school. Ask about their day. Show you're curious about what they learned, what happened.
Simple conversation. And staying connected with the teachers.
Crucial. Go to the meetings if you can. Read the emails or notices. Reach out if you have questions. Be part of that team we talked about.
Right. And two more big ones they mentioned.
Patience. Remember, kids learn at different paces. Focus on the effort, the progress, not just the final grade.
That's a good reminder. And the last one.
Believe in them wholeheartedly. That belief from a parent, it can be an incredibly powerful motivator for a child.
Wow. That's big.
These practical tips really just underline the main theme, don't they?
Right.
Parental involvement looks like lots of different things. It's adaptable, and anyone can do it. It's about building that supportive world around the kid.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. Our deep dive into the English Speak podcast. It really shows that parents are like the bedrock of a child's education. It's way more than homework.
It's those early years, the home vibe, working with the school, handling tech, cheering them on.
Showing you care. It nurtures not just school skills, but curiosity, confidence, maybe even a lifelong love of learning.
That's the hope, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Okay, so here's something for you to chew on after this. Thinking about your own life, your observations. What's maybe one single shift, could be small, in how parents engage with learning that you think could create the biggest positive ripple effect for a child?
Ooh, that's a great question to ponder. Makes you think beyond just the specific example.
Wait, let it percolate.
That kind of reflection really adds value, keeps the conversation going in your own head.
We hope so. We hope this deep dive sparked some thoughts, maybe gave you some new angles. Thanks for joining us.